Hello students, we have started the unit 2, that is file concept, and in our previous video we just have started the basic concept of file and file attributes. Okay, so today we will discuss about the how many types of files are there and how the file structure is used. So today we'll discuss about the types of file. That is file types. Okay. File types. In our previous video, we have understood the file concept and file attributes. Okay. So file is nothing but it is a logical name of some memory space where required information can be stored, that can be reused, that can be used according to our requirement. So while creating a file, we have to follow so many types of attributes like a file size, file name, file date and time, for protection, permission, security, all the things. These are the files, attributes of the file. Okay. So file types, file concept, already we have finished. Today we will discuss about the file types, how many types of file, okay, how many types of file that we have, that will be discussed. Okay. So file that stores huge amount of data. Okay. File that stores huge amount of data, so that different file operations can be possible. So what is a file operation? Means what we can do with the stored information in a file. That thing also we have discussed in every previous video. So many operations also, read, write, create, all the things. Okay. So operating system recognize the file types and also supports so many concepts. So operating system supports many types of file used. Many types of file used. So if an operating system recognizes the type of the file, we can then operate the file reasonable ways. Okay. So how to implement a file, that is the important. That must be supported by the operating system. So how to implement, okay, the different technique, just like a common technique for implementing file type is to include the part of the file. So while the file is created, while the file has been created, there are so many parts. Okay, one is your entire file can be split into two parts. A file is split into two parts. One is your primary, okay, one is your primary file name, one is your primary file name, second one is your secondary or extension or file extension. extension of file. So there are two parts. One is a primary name and the secondary name. So here user can use this type of file name which can be given a primary part and secondary part. And the secondary part indicates, primary part is okay, but secondary part indicates which type of file it is, because this is the extension part. The primary name and secondary name must be distinguished by a dot symbol. Okay, by a dot symbol. That is the extension name. Okay. So there are different file extensions. There are so many types of file extensions. So normally operating system supports many number of files that is used to store information in computer memory. So here a file, it is split into two parts. Okay, into two parts. One is your primary part, another one is secondary part. And secondary part, the extension part, that identifies which type of file it is. Okay. For example, suppose executable file. For example, executable file. So whenever a file is executable file, whose extension will be .exe. Okay, suppose a file disha.exe or disha.doc. This is the executable file, this is a document file. Okay, file name is disha, but as its extension is .exe, this is the primary. This is the primary file name. And this is the secondary file or extension. Secondary file. Okay. These two files. This is the executable file, this is document file. So by considering the extension or secondary part, we can recognize that which type of file it is. Suppose executable file whose extension will be .exe. Similarly, object file. Object file extension will be .obj. Similarly, text file. Whose extension will be .txt. Okay. Similarly, source file .c or .cpp or .java. Okay. So in multimedia, extension will be MP3. In multimedia file. Multimedia file whose file name will be extension MP3 or MP4 or movie, all the things. So by considering this extension name, we can recognize that which type of file it is, whether it is executable file or source file or text file, okay, or Word file. Okay, so for each and every file created, an extension part will be added to that particular file. Means each and every file, whenever it is created, an extension part will be added to it to identify that which type of file it is. Okay, so in this way, operating system supports many types of files which will be used by the user. So main motto is to create a file is to store information in computer memory. Okay, just we are creating file means we are gathering information, we are storing information in computer memory. Okay, so different types of files are there. Different why we are creating different types, because there are so many types of information. Okay, so different informations can be easily accommodated with the memory space, and also can easily retrieve, can easily access, so that we are creating the file. Suppose a picture file that will be stored by putting a particular name, so that it will identify that this is a picture file. Suppose a document file, the document file will be identify that it is a document file from the extension name. So by considering the extension or secondary part of the file, we can give the file name. So in this way, there are so many types of file. Okay, so many types of files that will be supported by the operating system and used in computer memory. So all these things, they are the file name. Already we have created DOS file, Unix file. Okay, there are some batch file. Suppose a file batch file, whose extension will .bat. This batch file already we have created in first year. In batch file, the extension will be suppose abc.batch. It's a batch file. Suppose xyz is a doc. So it's a document file. Okay, so in this way we can recognize that which type of file it is. So normally a file has two important parts. One is a primary part, another one is a secondary part. So by watching the secondary part or extension part, we can identify that which type of file it is. Okay, so this is all about the file types. Now let us discuss about the file structure. Okay, then come to file structure. Till now, Kundera file contains related information, and several files are stored in a particular directory. Means a directory contains a subdirectory or number of files. Okay, so file may be considered to be a sequence of blocks. File is considered as sequence of blocks of memory. Memory blocks. Okay, so memory space where related information can be stored. So it is a logical record size or physical block, and packing technique determines how to store number of records in each physical blocks. Okay, so file is a logical name, block is a physical type. Okay, file name is a logical file name, but block is a physical block. Okay, and that's what technique and packing technique all determines how to store number of records in each physical block. Clear? So in a file structure, file is a logical type. So a logical file, logical name, that will be used in physical block. A physical block will be given a logical name. In case of file system, what happens? A physical block is physical. Yeah, this block is physical block. Physical storage area. Block is the physical storage area in memory, but file is the logical name, and some access technique and some packing technique that determines how to store number of records. Okay, how to store number of records in a file. Okay, so file name is logical, space is physical, and a technique is used. How to store number of records in a file. So a file structure should be according to a required format. Okay, so a file structure must be a specific format. The file structure may be a specific format according to our requirement. Okay, so file structure should be a specific format that the operating system can understand. So operating system can understand. So this format must be understood by the operating system. Operating system should understand the format of the file. Okay, the format of the file. Okay. So a file has a certain defined structure according to its type. File format means according to different type there are several file format that will be understood by the operating system. According to your extension name, okay, according to its type, there are different types of file. The file structure can be defined. So this file structure, this file format can be defined according to the type of file. Okay. So here we can write here different file according to the file type. According to file type, right here. According to file type, we can have a different file format that will be understood by the operating system. For example, a text file. For example, a text file. So a text file is a sequence of characters organized into lines. So a text file, what happens? We are storing the sequence of lines. Okay, that is a sequence of lines. Means a sequence of characters organized into lines. So text file contains sequence of lines or a sequence of characters organized in a line. Okay, whose extension will be .txt. So this text file contains sequence of lines. Line contains sequence of characters. This is the concept. For example, for source file. For example, source file. What it contains? It contains source file contains sequence of procedure and functions. So this source file contains sequence of procedures, sequence of procedures or functions. Okay, or functions. And functions. That is the source file. So text file contains sequence of lines. Source file contains sequence of procedures and functions. Okay. In this way, we can have different file structure. Suppose an object file. Suppose object file. Okay. So object file, it is a sequence of bytes recognized into blocks that understandable by the machine. Okay. So the object file, it is a sequence of bytes. Okay. It is also a sequence of bytes. Okay, sequence of bytes organized into block, organized in okay. So there are so many types of file. Each file is different types of file. They having a different file format. This format is the file structure. Okay. So in this way, different files can be created, and different file can able to store different types of information in computer memory. That is the different types of file and file structure. Okay. So in this way, text file, source file, object file will be created. So extension will be text file when the extension will be .txt. The extension will be .txt. That file will be recognized as the text file. In the source file .src. Extension will be src. .obj. That is the object file. So object file contains a sequence of blocks. Text file contains sequence of lines. Okay. Source file is a sequence of procedures and functions. In this way, we can this is the structure, the file structure. Which type of file will store in which type of characters or which type of information. Okay. So when